Alright, Mr. Hoover here. I am a certified teacher, so it's time to lay it down, kiddies. Time to learn. I'm going to teach you all the scales I know. And some I don't know. First, now I'm going to make this kind of fun because we're going to stay on one string so you can see it laid out easily. And you can review this at your leisure. Leisure suit, that is. So, let's do E major. Check it out. That's 0, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. Major. All major scales are going to kind of sound like that. You know, you can do it like... But for now, we're just going to do this. Now let's do E major pentatonic. Pentatonic means penta is 5. It's an E major 5-note scale. We leave out the 4th and the 7th degree of the scale. I should probably back up. The way you describe the intervals of a scale are really simple. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, based on the major scale. Again, that's the 1 is the root. This is our 2nd note in the scale, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and that's all there is to it. On the major pentatonic, we skipped the 4th, so you got root, 2nd, 3rd, skip the 4th, 5th, 6th, skip the 7th, and 8. So that's a major pentatonic. Now let's do an E minor scale. Oops, one more time. In tablature, it'd be 0, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. The difference between the major scale and the minor scale, which is a smart thing to do, compare major to minor. The minor, we're going to flat the 3rd degree, the 6th, and the 7th degrees. That's the difference. So instead, major would be this. Minor, hear the difference? So we're flatting the 3rd. Here's the major 3rd. This is the minor 3rd. The 5th, so the root's the same, 2nd is the same, but the 3rd is different. It's flatted. The 4th is the same as the major scale, and so is the 5th. But the 6th is flatted. So instead of playing the 9th fret, we play the 8th fret, the C note. And instead of playing 11, 12 at the end, we play 10, 12, because we flat the 7th degree of the scale. So here's the minor. Cool, huh? That's your minor scale. Now let's do a minor pentatonic. Let's see if I can remember. Okay. On the minor pentatonic, we ditched the 2nd for some reason. So we're going to play open, 3rd fret, 5th, and 7th. We're going to skip that. Gotta think about it. We're going to skip the 6th degree and play, but we do play the flatted 7. So in tablature language, it would be 0, 3, 5, 7, 10, 12. And that's a minor pentatonic. Like most guitar teachers always say, let's start with the A minor pentatonic scale because it rules and it's awesome and it's great and it's fun and it's popular and it's a good place to start. Well, you can do the E minor pentatonic too. Alright, now let's do we'll do a blues scale. Blues scale is pretty interesting because it can be played over a major chord, but it is technically a minor scale. So it's got some kind of weird mojo going on, some kind of weird, greasy, rusty, crusty weirdness of the blues scale. So here we go. Let's talk about tablature. It'd be 0, 3, 0, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12. It's very close to a minor pentatonic. Here's minor pentatonic. Here's blues. The only difference is we include this note, the 6th fret, from the E minor pentatonic and E blues scale. That's the only difference. One extra note on the blues scale. Very, very similar. And they can be applied about the same way. The blues scale just has a little more kind of grittiness. So the formula is like a root, flatted third, a fifth. Here's the interesting note, a root, flatted third, fourth, flatted fifth. That's important. The flatted fifth sounds really kind of disturbing. It's got that kind of evil, menacing quality. I always like to teach that to people and kind of watch their reaction. People will look like they just ate a really sour pickle. Like, what is that? Which is a good reaction. That's really what that note is. It's like biting into a really sour pickle or drinking some really nasty whiskey or something. Or some, it's just sort of rowdy and rusty and nasty and dark and rough and tough, and it's good for that quality, like if you're playing some metal or something, some blues or something kind of spooky. I would call that a passing tone. Don't stay on it. Pass through it. Then you don't, it doesn't affect you so much. But if you want to make that effect, stay on that note. So that is your E blues scale. Very, very, very cool. Let's see. Now we could do, let's do the harmonic minor. I really don't know that many scales, so this won't go on forever. I'll probably skip the modes. Harmonic minor is really, really cool. It's just like the minor scale, except you don't flat the 7. So here's the natural minor. The only difference is the harmonic scale, we go instead of. And that is really kick-ass how it goes. Bop, bop. So the formula is root, or 1. The first interval is the root, open E. Your second, your flatted third, your fourth interval, your fifth, your flatted 6th, and a major 7th to your root or octave. So it's got that really bizarre quality when you go. And you could kind of maybe mix that with the blues scale. That's what's fun. Once you learn these, you can mix them and match them the way you want, and you start to realize that any note can work if you want it to. And it's just, you can play any note and you can describe it as one of these degrees. Like seriously, like if you play an F in the key of E, you can say, well, I flatted the 2nd. And that can be part of some scales. I'm not going to make if I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, I won't go on and on about it. But let's do this harmonic minor. Maybe that's enough for now. Oops. So that's got some punch. Let me tell you one little application of that scale. What sounds cool, this note may sound a little bizarre, but if you play a B chord when that note's happening, oops, because that note is your major third of a B chord. That's a D sharp, which is in a B chord. That's the major third of a B chord. B kicks to E minor. So it's got that kind of pushes to the end. If you're playing the scale, it's cool. So scales, if you learn some scales, it really will not rob your mojo. It will make your solos more interesting. I know people will like to say they're totally original and they make up their own sound, and that's very cool. You should always do that. But sometimes you get stuck playing the same thing over and over. People that say, well, I don't really do music theory because I'm an artist. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's cool. And they just kind of play the same thing over and over. It's like they might look at it as more of a geometric pattern, geometry. They'll say, well, here's my wicked jam. And at first it does sound pretty cool. And then I hear it on the next song and the next song. Like they might have a weird shape, which Eddie Van Halen did. And his stuff sounds kind of weird sometimes. It doesn't really sound in a key. And that's cool. He did it well. But not everybody can pull it off. You might have, sort of a shape. Let's say you think it's like... Yeah, it looks cool, and it feels good, and it almost sounds good, but I think they're trying to play... maybe, or something like that, but I could be completely wrong, but I've seen them come and go. So digging in on the scales is an investment. It's time and energy, but that time and energy will pay off. It's kind of like mutual funds. When you're young and somebody says, you better start putting some money away because you're going to be poor when you grow up, when you get older. And closer to retirement, you're not going to have anything. Like, I'm never going to retire. You're old. Well, okay. And then you start putting in $25 a month or something, and $50 a month. $75 a month, and then you check your account and you're like, whoa, I've got, hardly anything. And then the next year, you forget about it for 5 years. You keep investing a little every month, and then you're like, whoa, I've got like several $1,000s or something, and then it starts to grow. It's sort of like scales are like that. You invest, it kind of hurts to invest in them. You might not believe in it, but once you get those scales under your fingers, you can control. It's kind of like you have the colors. You've got, a box of, 64 color crayon box. You've got all those colors you can mix. You've got more tools, more sounds, not just, 2 or 3 kind of patterns. Each scale is a pattern too. We could play each of those scales all over the whole neck. But I tried to avoid that this time. So, if you can get yourself organized with your scales, get a book, get whatever tool you need. I'm actually working on a book about scales. This is killer. Guitar aerobics. You really should get this and start at the beginning. Work your way through. Ask me questions. If you want me to make you a video, I will. I have made videos all the way up to week 23. Exercises 155, around that area. I post a video for each exercise. It's really, really great. It's 1,000 times more organized than I could ever be. Really, really, really good book. And that'll help you learn a few scales and patterns and, I mean, if you learn a lot of songs, that helps. I would recommend you mix up your practice with something like start your practice with that book. You can get my chord book, work your way through that, play some scales, and then play all the songs you like, and then start writing your own things. Just go free form, have fun. You know, that's really the most important thing, is just close your eyes and that's how I make my albums, is just making stuff up. But I do have all that study so that my chord progressions make a little bit of sense. You know, if I want to get it weird and twisted and put some chords together that don't really fit in a key, I can do that because I know what is properly in a key and I know what can be out of a key. And I'm like, I'm going to put some chords together that are completely absurd, which I did on one album. It goes... That was one of my songs, just to see how weird I could get with chords. So there you go. A big talk about scales. A lot of talk, a lot of rock. That's a lot of action. So get after it. Don't be a slug. And let me know if you have questions. If you want me to expand on anything, I will go crazy expanding on it. I love to hear from each and every one of you every time. Anytime, let me know. See ya.